Hi, welcome to another edition of the vodcast. I'm Mark Caesar with Ed Clements and Sergeant Sam. The new Fox News poll is out on the GOP race for that party's nominee to be president of the United States. And one man has rocketed up the charts in this survey. He's never been elected to any political office.
Really?
Dr. Ben Carson.
Thank you.
Why is this happening, Ed?
Well, he's fresh. He's smart. It's new. He's not a lifelong politician. I think he's got some good ideas. He's got a long road ahead, but it's a new, interesting guy in the race.
Do you think he's qualified to be president?
Sure, I do. I don't fall in that camp that you have to be a former senator or congressman or state rep. I like new blood. I think when our forefathers started this government, they wanted citizens to be in the government. And Ben Carson is a neurosurgeon. He's just a citizen like everybody else.
And he's no dummy. You know, the man is very intelligent, and I think people appreciate, it just gives me chills to hear his life story, how he came up. His mom couldn't read, and she stayed on him like a duck on a June bug, and to see where he came from zero and where he accelerated. He's got a strong message and a will to talk about an example, a stark difference between Barack Obama, who's lived a life of privilege, gone to the best schools and had grandparents with a lot of money, and then from this man who was raised by a single mom with no money, worked her guts out, and encouraged him all the way, and he's a good Christian man.
Let me add a couple of details about his life in poverty.
Okay.
The mom never owned a TV when Dr. Carson was growing up.
Right.
No TV, and she demanded that he and his brother each read 2 books a week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Every week, year-round.
Yeah.
And she set the foundation. She set the expectations, and that led to his incredible academic performance.
You're absolutely correct, Mark. When a kid reads that much, they absorb so much information. And the fact of the matter is, his mom couldn't read.
Now, how does that play in with President Obama's comments this week, wherein he said we're still not spending enough on anti-poverty programs and spending enough on America's schools?
Mark, it shows to me that it can work without the big federalized central government. It can work if you have concerned parents. It can work if you do the right thing with education and not look to Washington for everything in your life.
You know, and I loved it when everybody asked Dr. Carson about how he felt about welfare. He said, I am so sick and tired of the federal government coming up to someone, patting them on the head and say, it's going to be all right, we're going to take care of you. He said, it's been our demise. And, you know, you've got to agree with this man. He's very intelligent. And I, along with a lot of people, are sick to death of politicians. And here comes the fresh face, new blood, very intelligent, and what's wrong with it?
A column in this week's Washington Post by Ruth Marcus focused on Carly Fiorina, another Republican candidate. Ruth Marcus said she was appalled that Carly Fiorina would be seeking the presidency. She says she has no business being anywhere near the Oval Office. Ruth Marcus said Carly Fiorina, the former CEO of Hewlett-Packard, was a failure in business, but her most egregious sin is she's never been elected to any political office. And she said, I would say the same thing about Dr. Ben Carson. Neither one has ever won a political election. They have absolutely no business being in the White House.
You know, they do have business being in the White House, and you can't say Carly Fiorina is a failure. She's far from a failure. One of the leading women in this country. Yeah, Hewlett-Packard might have had lost some of their stock share when she was president, but you can't blame that all on her.
No.
And again, I disagree with that entirely. You can be president. You can have any office without having any political experience.
Well, how about that reporter? Does that reporter ever run a business?
That's not a reporter. She's a columnist.
Well, a columnist. Well, whatever. Columnist, reporter.
Used to be a reporter. She's now a columnist.
Yeah. Okay. Has she have any business whatsoever? Any business sense?
Not to my knowledge.
Running a business?
No,
well, then how does she qualify to be a judge of anybody? You know, I am sick and tired. I think you're going to find Carson does real well. Dr. Ben Carson, in my book, should do very, very well. I've liked him from the very beginning.
Sadly, Sam, I think there's so many candidates in that Republican, I think they're just going to eat each other up.
You're not going to see that kind of vomit coming from Ben Carson. No, you're going to. No,
he can fix that.
No. He's going to step back. and he's going to let them eat each other up. If they come at him like that, he'll be very gentle. He'll be nice. He'll be very dignified, and he'll rise above at the top. He'll come out okay.
All right, that'll do it for this edition of the podcast. Please join us every weekday on the radio. Mark Ed and Sergeant Sam, 5:30 to 10, 590 AM, 99.7 FM. And you can weigh in with your comments anytime on the Mark Ed and Sergeant Sam Facebook page.